Today I want to show you something really cool. This is a technique that I learned in France. In the wine country, they often have grapevine cuttings, and they burn the grapevine cuttings. They burn very fast, and they cook over them. Well, I've got some grapevines growing along the fence line in my yard, and every year I prune them back, which you have to do in order to get good grapes, and I save the cuttings. Now, I think this would probably work with any fruit wood or hardwood or nutwood, but I use grapevines every year. I've got a stack of them under my deck. So we start with a Weber kettle, we clean out all the ash, and we throw some newspaper in the bottom. And then we pile on the grapevine cuttings. These are all a year old, they're dry, they're crisp, they're crunchy, and I cram as many as they can fit in there. I try to get them away from the edges so that I can put the cooking surface, the grate, on top, and jam them all down in there. And this is going to not only create a great deal of heat, but smoke. And as we know, the best flavored smokes are from hardwoods and fruitwoods and nutwoods. So we're going to get a really hot, well over 1,000-degree fire. I light it from below, get the newspaper lit, and within just a few minutes, you can see it starts to ignite. And when it ignites, holy cow, it ignites. Now, don't panic. I'm a good foot and a half or so from that railing there, and a good 2 or 3 feet from the house. And there's not a lot of wind today, so I'm not endangering my house, and there's always a fire extinguisher handy. But you're going to see some serious flame. And the thing is you're working against the clock. This thing flames up, and in less than 5 minutes, those big old monster flames burn down, and you have these little embers in the bowl of the grill, and that's what you want to cook on. Now that flame is too large and too hot to cook on right now, and it'll deposit soot on the food. So I wait for it to die down. It takes only a few minutes, and there we got a decent size, and on goes the flank steak. And I use flank steak for this technique because flank steak is really good when cooked hot and fast, and it's not real thick, because once this dies down to embers, the embers only last about 5 minutes. So you've got at most 10 to 15 minutes of cooking time available at extremely high heat. And you get all this wonderful flavor. You build this incredible crust. So after a couple of minutes, we take a look. We've got some nice color. We flip it over. Now that was probably no more than 4 or 5 minutes elapsed time there. And we're going to give it 4 or 5 minutes more on this side, get a good sear. Now, a lot of times I don't have to put a cover on it, but I noticed that the vine twigs are burning down, so I put the cover on just to capture a little heat and push some energy down into it, roast it a little more. So the cover went on for about 4 or 5 minutes is all, and then we pop it off and we check the temperature. And look at there, 134. That's perfect medium rare, 130 to 135. And that was in the thin end. You know, flank steak tends to have a thin end and a thick end. So look what I do. I take the thin end and I hover it out over the cool air, and the thick end remains over the embers. And look, those embers are down. There's not much left. It's still very hot down in there, but we're almost done cooking. And a total elapsed time now is maybe 10-15 minutes. We check the thick end, and there it is, 132. We're done. We take this baby off, and look it. There's nothing but ash. Again, total elapsed time, 15-20 minutes now at the most. That's the end result. Look at that gorgeous color. Beautiful mahogany color, edge to edge, a little bit of char. We put a cut into it. Now, you always cut flank steak across the grain. See the grain running from left to right, and I'm cutting across the grain, and that way you'll have an easier chew. And there it is, perfect medium rare to rare in the center. It's going to carry over cook another few degrees. That's the final product there, ready for eating. Cooking the Vigneron method over twigs from AmazingRibs.com. Come visit our website, check out our Pitmaster Club, sign up for our email newsletter.